Lesson 138. Heaven is the decision I must make. Welcome to the Qigong class for A Course in Miracles students. I am Judith and you're at the Lucid Mind Center. First, we're going to lead this A Course in Miracle class together. Then we're going to contemplate it. During the reading, we're going to contemplate it together. And at the end, I will guide you to a Qigong class, which is suitable to exactly this lesson, which is suitable in its idea and also in its length, according to what the Course in Miracle is suggesting here. You also have a choice to choose a longer class, and also very soon I'm going to invite you to special weekly Qigong classes, especially for A Course in Miracle students. So we are going to change it again a little bit, depending on when are you coming along. But if you have done quite a big number of classes with me, so then you already have a good idea what Qigong is. And obviously you are very versatile already with the lingo of A Course in Miracles and the ideas with which we are retraining our mind. Before we start, please do me the favor and subscribe to this channel. Share this with people who might need this. And let me know where you're watching from, how long you've been with A Course in Miracles, and let me know how this goes for you at the end. Let's begin. Lesson 138. Heaven is the decision I must make. And I definitely must make this decision. In this world, heaven is a choice, because here we believe there are no alternatives to choose between. We think that all things have an opposite, and what we want, we choose. If heaven exists, there must be hell as well. For contradiction is the way we make what we perceive and what we think is real. Creation knows no opposite, but here is opposition part of being real. And this is so interesting here. So this is again the yin-yang. Yin-yang is a concept of the Chinese medicine. It's a concept of Chinese philosophy. And in the Chinese philosophy, you have heard me speak about this already if you have been doing a few classes with me already. Taoism is talking about that there was first the unity, the divine unity, which then created created the Wuji state, created a separate peaceful state, which was like the extension of that divine state. And then this Wuji state could not stay long enough in inertia, and created the yin yang, split off the state of being into positive and negative. And then from there, all reunion and split off happened again. So from there, we got the 1,000 things which we have in the world. So the first split off is into yin and yang, into those two different poles. And this is exactly what it says here. If heaven exists, there must be hell as well. For contradiction is the way we make what we perceive and what we think is real. Creation knows no opposite. So if you want to connect this with Taoism or Qigong, so then we are talking about this state before it was split into yin-yang. But here is opposition part of being real. So in this particular reality, in this world where we are, this is where everything is opposite. We have minus and plus. We have got the poles of our earth are negative and positive. Magnets have got a positive and a negative end. We are constantly dividing everything in comparison with each other, constantly. And this is not how it is when we return back to our true self, to our reality. It is this strange perception of truth that makes the choice of heaven seem to be the same as the relinquishment of hell. It is not really this. Yet what is true in God's creation cannot enter here until it is reflected in some form the world can understand. Truth cannot come where it could only be perceived with fear. For this would be the error. Truth can be brought to illusions. Truth cannot come where it could only be perceived with fear. For this would be the error. Truth can be brought to illusions, but truth cannot be brought to illusions. Opposition makes a truth unwelcome and it cannot come. So again, if you go back to this pocket of darkness, which I talked about yesterday and in previous lessons, like I said, to me it appears that our mind is so incredibly powerful that it created this pocket of darkness, or this box of darkness where we are looking into it. And the light, which is the truth, cannot come into it if that entity which has created that box, that mind, is refusing it. It cannot come in. It's only after the mind has decided, I want to see light, is when the light can come in. It's basically when you are bringing the illusion into the light, when you are turning away from the darkness and say, no, I actually want to see the light. Heaven is the decision I must make. So this is a decision you're making. The same as you're making a decision not to be sick. It is all a mind game. And it's quite tough and scary at times to actually admit this to oneself. Choice is the obvious escape from what appears its opposites. The decision lets one of conflicting goals become the aim of effort and expenditure of time. Without decision, time is but a waste and effort dissipated. Without decisions, it is so important. Without decision, time is but a waste and effort dissipated. Decision lets one of conflicting goals become the aim of effort and expenditure of time. We gotta decide what we want. You gotta decide it. And if you want heaven, you gotta decide for heaven. Heaven is a decision I must make. You must make. We must make that we want to be in heaven. We wanna experience heaven on earth. And this is a decision we are making. You need to be reminded that you think 1,000 choices are confronting you when there is really only one to make. And even this but seems to be a choice. Do not confuse yourself with all the doubts that myriad decisions would induce. You make but one. And when that one is made, you will perceive it was no choice at all, for truth is true and nothing else is real. There is no opposite to choose instead. There is no contradiction to the truth. Choosing depends on learning, but the truth cannot be learned, but only recognized. This is very, very important. Truth is like a revelation. It's like when you understand, suddenly you have this aha moment. You're like, now I get it. In recognition, its acceptance lies. And as it is accepted, it is known. Once you know something, you don't need to believe it. But knowledge is beyond the goals we seek to teach within the framework of this course. Ours are teaching goals to be attained through learning how to reach them, what they are, and what they offer you. Decisions are the outcome of your learning, for they rest on what you have accepted as the truth of what you are and what needs to be. What your needs must be. So let's repeat this. Decisions are the outcome of your learning, for they rest on what you have accepted as the truth of what you are and what your needs must be. And I have a total confusion about that at the moment. And this is quite amazing. And I always feel that when there is a particular set of lessons, might be 3 or 4 or 5 lessons, it's almost like a bad weather, like a thunderstorm kind of situation. It's like there is something which you need to understand, and it begins in one lesson and it extends to the next one. And then 3 or 4 lessons down the line, you get this aha moment. You're like, now I get it. And suddenly it all makes sense. And this, what I am experiencing right now, has got to do with it. I have been preaching it for years, for decades, that heaven is a choice. That you must decide to enjoy the day. People who know me, they hear me saying this. Enjoy yourself, enjoy the day. to enjoy the day is a decision. I'm constantly saying it, and then yet it's still, I fall into those negative periods. Sometimes they are half a day, sometimes they drag themselves over 3 or 4 days. And it's always because I find myself to be separate. I look at myself as if I'm a victim. I am afraid of getting sick, or I feel that I am sick. I am unwilling to see the light, and it's all kind of hidden from my awareness. I almost make, I am pretending to myself that this is the outside circumstances which make me feel that way, that there's loads of culprits out there. It's either some of my family members, or it's a company or a client, or God knows what, the weather, or the news, or something, or the atmosphere, which is guilty of my unwillingness to see the light. And it's only after I've gone through the misery for a period of time, maybe for several days, that I then realize, well, it's because you have made this decision and you were unwilling to see this. All that said, I also feel that when you are going through those downers, it's because there is something at the bottom of that pit. It's like a piece of information which you were unwilling to see at the top. So you kind of have to sink down into the pit, into that hole, and pick up that gold piece. Because the gold piece which was laying there next to the hole, you didn't want to pick it up. So you had to go down. You had to make it worth it. So you had to kind of go down into the pit, pick up that gold piece, bring it up and say, okay, now I get it. And this is how I feel often, that it is for me like that. And also the people who are close to me, I observe that we are like going through a period of madness and of misery, because we are unwilling to admit to ourselves that we don't have to be miserable. It is bizarre. And here it says, in this insanely complicated world, heaven appears to take the form of choice rather than merely being what it is. This is a natural state of being. This is what you actually were supposed to be at all times. Of all the choices you have tried to make, this is the simplest, most definite, the prototype of all the rest, the one which settles all decisions. If you could decide the rest, this one remains unresolved. But when you solve this one, the others are resolved with it. For all decisions but conceal this one by taking different forms. Here is the final and the only choice in which is truth accepted or denied. And this is so true. Let me unpack this for you. So of all the choices you have tried to make, this is the simplest and most definite, the prototype of all the rest, the one which settles all decisions. So if you could just decide that to enjoy happiness, joy, heaven, it is actually the only choice I have to make. If I just would to make this particular choice, then there is no other problems, because anything which comes your way, if you decide that heaven is your choice, that enjoyment is your choice, then all others, they just solve by it, because you are in happiness, you are in joy. I am in joy. If I am in joy, everything seems to be easy. And at the moment I find everything difficult. I find myself so incredibly trapped. And it is so silly, and I can even observe it. I'm kind of watching myself from the outside, and I'm thinking to myself, what on earth are you doing? And still, yet I can't see a way out of it. And then it says it here, if you would just decide that, if you could just decide, but when you solve this one, the others are resolved with it. For all decisions, but conceal this one by taking different forms. Here is the final and the only choice in which is truth accepted or denied. And when you're watching those animals, they are always in this joy and happiness. They are always enjoying themselves. They're always coming back, no matter how rude or negative you were with them, they come back for more love. And it's amazing. The trust and love. I think they are messengers of love. I think we as the creators or the makers of this world, we put them in there to remind ourselves that this is a way of enjoying life. So we begin today considering the choice that time was made to help us make. Let's say this again. So we begin today considering the choice that time was made to help us make. Such is its holy purpose, now transformed from the intent you gave it, that it be a means for demonstrating hell is real, hope changes to despair, and life itself must in the end be overcome by death. In death alone are opposites resolved, for ending opposition is to die, and thus salvation must be seen as death, for life is seen as conflict. To resolve the conflict is to end your life as well. So that is what time, the choice that time was made. These mad beliefs can gain unconscious hold of great intensity. Is even when I'm reading this paragraph, I have got difficulties understanding it, because it is telling us what the choice of having the time, which is helped us make. So we, by choosing time, choosing the illusion of time, we have transformed all the good stuff into bad stuff. So it's holy purpose, now transformed from the intent you gave it, that it be a means for demonstrating hell is real. So basically we have to choose again. Demonstrating hell is real, hope changes to despair, and life itself must in the end be overcome by death. So this is all these kind of mad beliefs we have. And we want to change our mind. These mad beliefs can gain unconscious hold of great intensity and grip the mind with terror and anxiety so strong that it will not relinquish its ideas about its own protection. It must be saved from salvation, threatened to be safe, and magically armored against truth. And these decisions are made unaware to keep them safely undisturbed, apart from question and from reason and from doubt. And that is why we fall into these pockets of misery, because they gain unconscious hold of great intensity within us, and we feel separate and we feel alone. And this is just what I have been experiencing the last few days, for no apparent reason at all. It is just there, and I can't put my finger on it. And the moment I can actually put my finger on it, it disappears. And it is so bizarre. It's almost like I have to experience it. I really have to go through this to be able to bring the resolve as well, hopefully, to you, to us, to both of us. Heaven is chosen consciously. The choice cannot be made until alternatives are accurately seen and understood. All that is veiled in shadows must be raised to understanding, to be judged again, this time with heaven's help. And that is the key here. We have to ask for help. You have to say to this higher self, whatever you give it, whatever name you give it, please help me. And when you do that, in that instant, help does come. You can even almost feel it. It's like it sinks in. We're going to do this in our very short Qigong class. I'm going to show you how to do this. And all mistakes in judgment which the mind had made before are open to correction, as the truth dismisses them as causeless. Now are they without effects. They cannot be concealed because their nothingness is recognized. The conscious choice of heaven is as sure as is the ending of the fear of hell when it is raised from its protective shield of unawareness and is brought to light. Who can decide between the clearly seen and the unrecognized? Yet who can fail to make a choice between alternatives when only one is seen as valuable and the other as a wholly worthless thing, a but imagined source of guilt and pain? Who hesitates to make a choice like this? And shall we hesitate to choose today? Should we still wait longer? We make the choice for heaven as we wake and spend 5 minutes making sure that we have made the one decision that is sane. We recognize we make a conscious choice between what has existence and what has nothing but an appearance of the truth. Its pseudo being brought to what is real is flimsy and transparent in the light. It holds no terror now. For what was made enormous, vengeful, pitiless with hate demands obscurity for fear to be invested there. Now it is recognized as but a foolish, trivial mistake. Before we close our eyes in sleep tonight, we reaffirm the choice that we have made each hour in between. And now we give the last 5 minutes of our waking day to the decision with which we awoke. As every hour passed, we have declared our choice again in a brief, quiet time devoted to maintaining sanity. And finally, we close the day with this, acknowledging we chose but what we want. Heaven is a decision I must make. I make it now and will not change my mind because it's the only thing I want. I really definitely believe that you need to write this down because of the motoric that is going to help you remember. Heaven is a decision I must make. I make it now and I will not change my mind because it is the only thing I want. And I find it amazing that we are doubting it at all. I want heaven. I want to enjoy myself. I want to be happy. I want to see the light. I want to remember that I am the light. I want to remember that I am the child of God, that I am the extension of this divine mind. I want this now. And this we want to remind ourselves. So today I'm going to show you 2 classes of 5 minutes each. One is going to be standing and one is going to be seated. And if you learn to do these classes with me, you can do them anytime. You can do them while you're standing in the bank waiting. You can do them while you are in the supermarket and and you are feeling that you are starting to trip. You can do it while you're sitting in a train or in a taxi or even while you're driving yourself the car. It is to become aware that you are choosing to connect to your source. You're choosing to connect to your higher self, to Jesus, to Christ, to God, to your angels, to your guardian angel, whatever it is, your ancestors, whatever it is that you feel that you have got a connection to, which is your bridge to the divine. It could be, like I said, it could be angels, it could be Christ, it could be Buddha, it could be Muhammad. It doesn't matter which it is. Whatever you feel, your past parent or grandparent or whatever, it doesn't matter who that bridge is or what that bridge is. Use it to connect to your divine self. And that was what I'm going to show you now in this standing Qigong class, very short Qigong class, and in this seated Qigong class. And here you have got different Qigong classes. If you want to do a longer class now because you need it, you can choose them here. Enjoy and let me know how it goes for you.